In this medieval steampunk land fraught with airships, submersibles, and fantastical beasts, players will not lack any means, savory or not, to rise to the top and be the most influential in all the kingdom. Welcome to Feudum. Strategies for the ambitious are endless, from controlling various lands, being a lord in some, or being a subject in another while tending the land as a serf. They can make epic journeys as a pious pilgrim towards enlightenment, or they can war and use tamed beasts of myth to aid them. More importantly, they'll manage the world's economy as apprentice, journeymen, or guild masters in some of the kingdom's 6 guild factions. The farmers control produce and goods, the merchants will sell them, the alchemists make inventions from ships, submersible and airships to gunpowder, the knights supply a player's army and in turn influence on the land, and the order holds the secrets to the behemoth and the sea serpent to use in battle. The nobles control royal writs and king seals, both needed for high victory points, and the monks control blessings and piety. These positions that players will gain and lose control of are very powerful, but a good rapport with another player in these, say by throwing them a feast with wine, will sway them to do what you ask of them. Players will have 11 action cards and choose 4 each round, do one, and then the next player does one, and so on until all 4 have been completed. These actions range from placing influence in pawns, moving, improving locations to an eventual feudum, harvesting, taxing, conquering, defending, doing a guild action, or even repeating eligible actions already done this turn. Having the right pawn on the board when doing an action can also have you do a bonus or stronger action. Goods such as saltpeter or sulfur can be placed here to allow players to do an extra action or do 2 actions sequentially. The end of the round will have you feed your people or they'll starve. Some might even have been your journeymen or guild masters, so make sure you have food or at the very least wine. Though wine will mull their senses and make them weak in battle. Hopefully, they'd be in a place where they might not see a lot of action. Maybe in the Isles where only certain vehicles can make the trip. Of course, that's where the sea serpent might appear. Players will need to not only think of how they can gain power, but how to retain it. Eventually, epochs will proceed ahead as the lands get settled in more and more with locations. When they change, scorings will apply. You'll check guild statuses, landscapes, and how many active regions you're part of. These would be the sea, isles, forest, desert, badlands, or mountains. Being the lord of a feudum will score you lots of points, but penalties might occur if you were disloyal to the king as you did not provide military service. Landscapes and goods will be replenished in the map in some epochs, and at the end of the 5th, you'll have one final scoring for your epic voyage here, types of locations ruled including 3 identical ones, shillings you have, and royal writs you've completed. Make sure you have the king's seal or some are for naught. The player with the most points wins. Let's make sure to say this first. Feudum is an expert's gamer's game. The art, though reminiscent of the Beatles' Sgt. Pepper's album from the 60s, is not an invitation to make your grandparents that play Scrabble join in this game. Though it might make you feel like you're tripping out on LSD, just ask this guy. Even for us, with over thousands of games under our belt, the learning curve was extreme. There's little minutiae, fiddly bits, both with the components and with the rulebook, that we needed to tell the creators that we were going to be late with the review so we can judge it fairly. So, we've played it about 5 times now, and it's really at the 3rd time around you get the feel for what the game is. And the question you're all asking is it worth it? Yes. This is another game that requires patience for you to understand. But when you do, the world is open to you. Sequence of action, when to use coveted goods, when to do anything really. You can spread your strategies and be a jack of all trade or be a master of one. There doesn't seem to be any one overpowered strategy, but being part of the guilds is extremely important, so don't overlook them. The game will require a lot of your time, both in length and with some analysis paralysis, especially at the beginning. It certainly was a unique experience, and because of this, the game will have you either love it or hate it. But it certainly gave us an experience of freedom that a lot of games don't provide. Luck is kept to a minimum, from what types of goods you pull from the haversack to what landscape tiles flip to see if it triggers a new epoch or not, but it's well blended with the strategic part of the game, which is what matters more. In conclusion, Feudum is a great game for anyone who doesn't want instant gratification, who can earn its respect because it's surely well commanded, and is well versed in board games. For everyone else, there's Settlers of Catan. We give Feudum an 8 out of 10.